So hey guys, it's Tech, and today, as of uploading this, it will be the 14th of January 2020, which is the last day of Windows updates for Windows 7. It's basically when Windows 7 loses support. What this means is you will no longer be getting security updates from Microsoft. That's a lot of people think that this is just something annoying. Like, they're not just there to be like, oh, you need to update and start a computer. These are really important for people who don't know. A security update basically patches vulnerabilities in your system, such as, let's say, like a hacker finds a way to get into your computer by networking or whatnot, and they find a way to get into your computer. Microsoft will find that out. They'll find out that there's this vulnerability, and they will patch it by using security updates. And the hacker or whatever will not be able to use that method again in order to use Windows. Or in order to hack into your computer. They have to find either another method, or they just stop being a jerk, I guess. Basically, that's what that is. Security updates are very much there to help you out. And without those, you're basically on your own. You need to make sure that you don't go to sketchy sites and different things. As you can see here, I'm not even connected to a network at the moment, although I can be. I'm still under a support window. So you've got a couple options. So what you can do is, number one, you can either install Windows 10 or Windows 8. 2, disconnect your PC from the internet. This option I honestly would recommend if you do not want to upgrade to Windows 10 or 8, you want to stick with 7, and you're not really needing the internet for many things. You might have another PC that is connected to the internet that's running Windows 8 or 10 that you could be using, and that's something I would suggest doing if you do need a PC running Windows 7. So that's one option. And number 3 is to continue using Windows 7 as it is without security updates. I do not recommend this option, as you'll get viruses, you'll get ransomware, you'll get stuff that hasn't been patched, basically. You'll get a lot of issues, basically, with your computer. Just don't do that method unless you seriously are 100% okay with it. There's no important data. You do a ton of backups, and your backup is independent from your computer, because eventually you will get got using an older version of Windows, such as Vista users and XP users will eventually probably get ransomware or other viruses and such. Now that I've talked about everything that needs to be known before you take action, you've got to take action pretty much now. So now it's time to go over Windows 7. Time to say goodbye and just go over all the features of Windows 7. First of all, Windows 7 was the first version of Windows to introduce the taskbar that shows not only open applications, but you can pin applications. It's similar to Vista's, but Vista's is not nearly as good looking. Windows 7, first version to introduce this new taskbar with these previews here that allow you to close and reopen stuff. Windows Vista had these previews too, if you had the Arrow theme. This has these little previews on Arrow and Arrow Basic, meaning that if your computer doesn't have a good graphics card and can't run this Arrow theme, running the basic theme, you'll get these too. You will not be able to see what the window looks like, though. You can see right here, the window does not have any sort of look to it. You can see right here, it doesn't give you a preview of anything. Hovering over this doesn't do anything under the basic version of the operating system. So if I flip this back over, you'll see what I'm talking about. If you hover over the Show Desktop button, it will fade out all the windows in the background that are obviously there. And once you click it, they just disappear. Along with, Windows 7 is the newest system that you can run on computers that don't support newer CPU features such as SSE2. Well, these aren't really newer, but just some of the features that would be needed and necessary to run Windows 10 and Windows 8. Windows 7 does not require these. So that would be SSE2. This is a feature on the, This is a feature on the CPU that it's some extra security features that Windows 8 and 10 both need. PAE, that's something that is needed, which I honestly find really stupid. It is called Physical Address Extension, and what this does is it allows more than 4 gigs of RAM to run on a 32-bit CPU. This is a really dumb requirement, and it seriously is not needed. I don't really understand that one, but yeah, it's required. You can't boot Windows 8 or 10 without that feature. It just will not even boot. The last feature is No execute. That is a feature called NX, and it is required for Windows 10 and 8 to boot. That's one of the requirements. Now, there is an exception to this rule. Windows 8 Beta, the developer and consumer versions both have different requirements. The developer preview does not require anything. It doesn't require NX, PAE, SSC2. Requires none of that. It's a lot less feature-packed, though. It looks very much like Windows 7, except it has the start screen and a lot of other things. You can't change the colors default from green. I don't even think you can sign it with a Microsoft account. Used to work. I don't think it does anymore. And then you've got the consumer preview of Windows 8, which requires PAE, which is stupid. It does not require SSC2 or NX, I don't think. It might require SSC2, but I'm for sure know that it does not require NX. So yeah, Windows 7, I'm really going to miss it. I honestly love the system. I mean, I'm going to keep using it on several computers, but they just won't get any security updates, which is a bummer. So yeah, I think it's time to say goodbye to Windows 7. It needed to end eventually. There was no way that Microsoft could support this forever. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye guys.